Last Friday, Assemblyman Billy Jones hung up the spikes after 9 years in Albany. Jones came from a political family, and he caught the bug at a young age.
For lack of a better word, I was a government or political nerd, so to speak, when I was younger, and it always interested me, politics and government and the inner workings and how that all worked out.
An exit interview with the North Country's lone Democrat in Albany on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Pearsall Wealth Management at UBS Wealth Management USA, subsidiary UBS AG, member FINRA SIPC, 1 Broad Street, Glens Falls.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Thursday, September 11th. First up, the North Country's congressional representatives condemned the assassination of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk yesterday. Senators Kirsten Gillibrand and Chuck Schumer said the news was horrifying and that political violence has no place in the United States. Congresswoman Elise Stefanik described Kirk as a conservative titan, loving father, and dedicated husband, quote, with a huge heart and deep love for America. Congresswoman Claudia Tenney said he, quote, inspired countless students and future leaders. Kirk was an ally of President Donald Trump and co-founder of Turning Point USA. The nonprofit advocates for conservative politics on high school, college, and university campuses. Kirk died after he was shot at a speaking event at Utah Valley University yesterday. As of this afternoon, the FBI had released 2 photos of a person of interest in the killing, but no suspect had been taken into custody. It's the 24th anniversary of the terrorist attacks on New York City and Washington, D.C. New York State lawmakers are once again pushing for permanent federal funding for the health program that treats 9/11 survivors. Desiree Diorio with the New York Public News Network has the story.
The World Trade Center health program needs at least $3 billion to continue providing health care to hundreds of thousands of survivors. It typically gets smaller amounts through federal legislation, but it could run out in about 13 months. U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand says survivors shouldn't have to plead with Congress for more money.
It's very hard for these first responders to come to Washington year after year. A lot of them are very sick, and many who started coming to Washington are now past.
The Trump administration downsized the program earlier this year, but the staffing cuts were reversed after pushback from Trump's fellow Republicans, Congressman Nick LaLota and Andrew Garbarino of Long Island. On Long Island, I'm Desiree Diorio for the New York Public News Network.
Billy Jones ran the family dairy farm after high school before starting a 20-year career in corrections. And then he was elected to mayor of Chateauguay in 2009. And he went on to serve on the Franklin County Legislature, including as chair, before he was elected to the Assembly in 2016. Jones would become the only Democrat representing the North Country in Albany, even as Democrats took control of both houses of the legislature. He told Champlain Valley reporter Kara Chapman that came with its benefits and its challenges.
I know I was able to deliver a lot of resources for organizations and local governments here in the North Country. So yes, it was an advantage. But I've always been an independent-minded person, and I think the most important thing you can do is stick up for your constituents and speak on their behalf. So I'd like to think that I did that to the best that I could. I'm the only Democrat in the North Country on a state or federal level. So that presents its challenges because when they're looking at being not happy with Democrat policies, most of the eyes fall on you.
What do you see as your top accomplishments from your time in the Assembly?
To single out one thing, I don't think I can. I always say one of my proudest accomplishments is what my team was able to do in constituent services. And I always said this to my staff, when somebody calls and they're in need of something, that's the most important issue to them in their lives at that point. And we should do everything that we can do to try to help them or try to, ease their concerns. And what I'm most proud of, honestly, is when someone comes up on, the street or in a supermarket or wherever I may be, and, shakes my hand or thanks me for something that I have done or my team has done for them. And that's what I'm most proud of.
Most of the population and representation in New York State is concentrated in New York City and other major cities that are outside of the North Country. What's it been like to get your fellow legislators to, care about and understand North Country issues?
I think right from the beginning, forming those connections and forming those relationships with my colleagues and getting them to understand what it was like here. I remember the majority leader coming up here to Saranac Lake, Joe Morelli, in my first year. We came up and did a round table with some organizations and some businesses. And we were at the venue, and he said on the way up, the speaker kept trying to talk to him. And he said, geez, the cell phone service here stinks. And then he was trying to log on to the internet, and we had to do some other things. And I said, these are the issues that we deal with here. And I think, just having that, having him realize that or see that made an impression on him. I think forming those connections and also understanding where they're coming from. I never went into a conversation or trying to get people to realize what our obstacles were or our issues were here in the North Country without asking them. I don't know anything about living in the Bronx or Brooklyn or taking mass transit every day. I don't know any of those issues or some of the housing issues that they have and continue to have. So kind of understanding them and having them understand where I came from.
Your departure will set off a special election to fill the remaining year of your term. What's your advice to your successor?
Well, hang on. I would say get out, get to as many things as you can, talk to the people, not only my constituency, but the constituency as a whole in our country is just kind of sick of politicians talking to them. They'd rather have politicians talk with them. Not everybody that disagrees with you is a no-good, nasty person. Some people wake up every day and that's the first thing they do is just go, go, go and try to demean and diminish the other perspective or the other person. It's never been my style. I would hope that someone would be a little less of that, I should say, and be a little more understanding of what you're actually here to do, and that's to serve your constituents and to listen to them. And I would, some personal advice, I would tell them, once in a while, take a day off or take a break because this business can burn you out.
Do you have any parting words to the people of the 115th Assembly District and the North Country?
Just a huge thank you for having a little confidence in me, for 5 terms as an assembly member, and I know we always didn't agree, but I always worked hard for the people, and I always tried to understand their views and their perspective on things, and just a big thank you.
Assemblyman Billy Jones spoke with Kara Chapman on his last day in office last Friday. It's now up to Governor Kathy Hochul to call a special election to fill the remaining year of Jones's term. She told reporters Tuesday that the plan is for it to coincide with the general election on November 4th.
Any way we can help our localities save money, not having to run an extra election when it comes close enough to a already established election timetable, either a primary or general, we're just going to do that. And so I think it'll also be important for turnout.
Hochul has until this Monday to make that official. We have more news at ncpr.org. Music today by the Saranac Project of Saranac Lake and Bee Children of Canton. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.